Damar Hamlin now breathing on his own and able to FaceTime his teammates. The remarkable updates continuing for number 3 on the Buffalo Bills. Today, the team announcing 24-year-old safety Damar Hamlin had his breathing tube removed this morning. Jenna Cottrell here now with the latest. Jenna, this has been such a remarkable recovery. The good news keeps coming.
Yeah, I mean, it has been incredible. The amount of progress shown by Damar Hamlin as his condition continues to improve. You mentioned his breathing tube being removed. Doctors announcing that his neurologic functions remain intact as well. And today, Hamlin even able to talk with teammates over FaceTime. It was a very special moment in Orchard Park, and it was a surprise as well for the Bills players as Sean McDermott and his staff coordinating the call with Damar's care team in Cincinnati. And while it was brief, Damar was able to tell his teammates, quote, "Love you, boys." McDermott said seeing Damar with his own eyes was something he has been looking forward to and something he's needed to see. The Bills told us today what that call was like, and the team's reaction says it all.
When I said that we had a treat in store, it was just, you could see the look on their eye in anticipation of what was probably coming. And then to get the Zoom, and when he came on the screen, to see the players' reaction, they stood up right away and clapped for him, and yelled some things to him, and it was a pretty cool exchange.
Man, we got our boy, man. You know what I'm saying? That's all that matters. We got our boy. The excitement was beautiful. It was amazing. It has given us so much energy, so much, bright, high spirits, whatever you want to call it. It has given it to us. To see that boy's face, to see him smile, see him go like this in the camera, it was everything. So, and then to hear him talk to us, it was literally everything, and that's what we needed.
Yeah, that's awesome. You can see the smiles there. This entire team thrilled at the progress of their teammate and getting to even talk to him today. Now, the Bills getting ready for that game this weekend against the Patriots, and the atmosphere expected at Highmark Stadium. It's going to be electric on Sunday in Orchard Park.
After watching Hamlin's medical emergency during the Bills game Monday night, a Webster woman is opening up about her own experience with cardiac arrest. 13 Wham's Dalton Williams sharing her story tonight. Dalton, good evening to you.
Good evening. Like many of you, Nancy DeGaw was sitting at home watching the game when she saw Damar Hamlin go down. Memories of her own cardiac arrest came up. In August of 2021, Nancy DeGaw was in California about to walk her son's dog when she fell to the ground.
I was getting ready to take one of the dogs out the door, and I went down.
According to Nancy, her son and son-in-law took her into the living room and began administering CPR and called 911. While doing compressions for 8 minutes, Nancy's son also called her sister, Kathy Ross, who's a cardiac nurse.
And she said, "Aunt Kathy, I've done CPR on my mom. I can't believe this. She's collapsed. I don't know what's happening." And I said, "Well, Charlie, you did what you're supposed to do."
When paramedics got to Nancy, they used an AED shock in the home and again during the ambulance ride to the hospital. Thankfully, Nancy did not suffer any neurological damage from the cardiac arrest. Doctors were able to determine exactly what happened thanks to a pacemaker put in back in 2020 when she passed out due to a heart block.
She got to the hospital. There's nothing wrong with her. They did a full cardiac workup. She did not have blockages, so this was not a heart attack. This was an arrhythmia.
Nancy was in recovery for several months and still checks in with her cardiologist. Fast forward to Monday night, memories of her own experience came flooding back while watching and wondering about Damar Hamlin.
Just knowing what they were doing, I just was praying for him, and I'm so glad that they did the right thing, that they were there and they could do the CPR. Because that's the important thing, is the CPR, learning CPR.
As we've heard so much this week, Nancy and her sister both say it's imperative for everyone to learn CPR.
That's a near tragedy. If the shooter had not missed, we would be looking at potentially loss of life.
A dangerous shooting outside a Rochester City school, prompting the district to increase security. Good evening, I'm Don Alhide. We're going to begin with new images tonight showing the shooting that took place on the front steps of Franklin High School. Tonight we are hearing from a teacher at that school as the district and police step up security at 5 schools. As Chase Howell explains tonight, those schools are considered to be in so-called hot spots of violence.
Don, we're told Rochester police officers will now be outside of Franklin, Wilson, Edison, Northeast, and East for the rest of the year. All are schools and areas that see a substantial amount of Rochester's violent crimes. As for bringing back school resource officers, the district and the school board are saying no for right now. A video circulating on Twitter appears to show security cam video of when a man opened fire on a 16-year-old. A teacher who wishes to remain anonymous due to fear of retaliation verifies this is video of what happened outside Franklin High School Thursday.
We did the hold in place for maybe 7 minutes, and then students were released like nothing happened. And the day was to go on as usual.
The teacher says violence and gangs plague some of the city's schools, including Franklin. Police say a Franklin student was the target after an alleged altercation a few blocks away on Hudson Avenue that spilled onto the Franklin campus.
It's not safe. A lot of times there's a lot of retaliation. People will come armed with knives and things to the school, guns. It has happened in the past before.
We showed Adam Urbanski, president of the Teachers Union, the surveillance video from outside the school.
Oh my God. Those are somebody's children.
Addressing security today, school board president Cynthia Elliott says the district is not planning to bring back school resource officers. Elliott fears officers will be used as substitutes for school counselors and worries about tensions between students and SROs.
We're okay because we understand that we have to protect our children and we have to protect our staff. But at the same time, we don't want the kind of altercation that we experience, that our families experience in the community to occur in our schools.
Urbanski wants resource officers back.
We should not either expect teachers to be amateur law enforcement officers, nor should we wait for a tragedy to happen before we act. It's common sense. And unfortunately, in our institutions, common sense is no longer very common.
And there are still no suspects in custody. Anyone with information is asked to call 911 or the Crime Stoppers hotline at 423-9300.